Good morning and aloha, beautiful people. Welcome on into the HPU Esports Arena powered by DSE Hawaii. I'm your host, Paul Brecht, not Jeffrey Rich. He's stepping away for just a couple of weeks. He's got busier things to do than just us little people here. No, just kidding. All the best to Jeff as he tends to some stuff, but we have a pretty exciting show for you folks today. HPU men's basketball joining us here in the house. Jesse Nakanishi, the brand new head coach of the men's basketball program, along with two of the newest Sharks, and of course, our newest SID, Mark Stual. And I'm going to start first things first. Coach Nakanishi, welcome on in. Thanks so much for joining us again. We actually chatted a little bit before last school year ended, I believe, or at least when you had joined first and been announced as Coach V stepped away and you stepped into the role. And since that time, a lot of new faces into the program. How's that time been since the last time we've chatted?
Well, I appreciate you having me, first of all. Always good chopping it up with you and at practice when you come and radio and whenever. But yeah, it's been great. It's been a pleasure going to practice every day. Just guys like Tyrease and Charlie here. Very enjoyable group, very coachable group. They make it fun, and we look forward to getting to work every day and being on the grind together. So it's been fun.
I mentioned a lot of new faces for this HPU team, as you guys, obviously, as with any overhaul with a staff, Coach V stepping away, sometimes you'll see player movement. You mentioned two of those new faces that are with you, Charlie Weber and Tyrease Terrell. We'll bring you guys in to start things off. How are you guys doing this morning? Charlie, you're the one with the microphone right now, so we'll start with you. How are you doing this morning? Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great so far. I really enjoyed my time here these past 2 months. Coach Knock has been a great guy. I've enjoyed all my practices, and I'm really getting along with the guys real well. So I'm looking forward to the season.
Awesome. Really looking forward to seeing you get playing in an HPU uniform. We'll talk to you a little bit more as this one gets going. Tyrease, how are you doing, my man? You actually were the first one of all of us outside of me and our wonderful athletic director, Debbie Snell, to get in this morning. How are you doing? Thanks so much for getting in here. First thing, were you excited to be on the show today?
Yes, sir. I was actually very excited to be on the show. When Coach Knock asked me, I think I responded in like 5 seconds. I was so ready to go.
From what I've heard, you're one of the more personable players on the team. You got a lot of personality, so I'm really looking forward to chit-chatting with you as this one gets going. And Marcus, I don't want to leave you out either. How are you on this fine Thursday morning?
I'm busy, but I'm doing good.
I was going to say, you came on a little bit later than a lot of SIDs I'm sure would like to sign on for, but nonetheless doing an awesome job as you try and get caught up with the multitude of sports that HPU has. So for any listeners, I want to just give a quick introduction to Coach Nakanishi again. Any listeners who missed his introductory show when he first joined us all those months ago. Coach Nak, he was the associate head coach for the Sharks last season. He's somebody who, a long-time HPU guy. Before HPU, though, he was at Kamehameha Kapalama, helped build a juggernaut at his alma mater in 8 seasons at the helm. He finished with an overall record of 174-65, participated in a bunch of tournaments around the nation, which to me is always the way that you see the best programs. I think you see it in high school football a lot, where you travel around the country to compete against the best of the best talent, and I think that's something you have, I don't want to speak for you, but that's something that you've brought here to the college level. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And you've won a couple of state championships. You've had a runner-up finish, so you've gotten to the pinnacle. You've also gotten to the pinnacle and fallen just short. So you've had a multitude of experiences in that head chair. For all the beautiful people listening who might not be familiar with you right now, how are those experiences something that you're able to build off of as you now enter the first season as being a head collegiate coach?
Sure, it's been quite a journey. I mean, as a player and as a coach, I think coaching over 20 years now, and 12 high school and Division II here and Division I. So you just take all your different experiences, and just as a head coach now, I just love having this opportunity to put my touch on it, my vision on it, just peeling back on every experience I've had. I like that. I didn't like that. I would do that. I wouldn't do that. As you just gain, I've literally wrote down notes throughout my different times and stops, and what I can't wait for when I'm head coach and what I would do. So now it's like, wow, it's here, and I actually get to try and do these things. So yeah, just even back to the high school years, and that's where my foundation as a coach was really built, and making mistakes at that level, learning from them, carrying on a different experiences with Coach V in my first stint here, and him letting me have so much responsibilities in the program, and same thing, letting me make mistakes along the way. So yeah, I'm so thankful for all the different opportunities and stops that I've really grown from, and applying all those experiences now.
Yeah, applying all those experiences will be important. I'm curious, what's your overall coaching philosophy as you go in, you step into that head role? Obviously, that takes a little bit more than just being the associate head coach, being an associate coach, being an assistant coach. What is your coaching philosophy as you enter into practice or each game day, what you want to communicate to your players through both your body language and your voice?
I mean, I think, philosophy-wise, there's no substitute for hard work. It's cliches, but we're going to outwork teams. But more than that, I'm all about the experience for our guys, both on and off the court, and applying the life lessons with using the tool of basketball to teach these lessons. And so I just want them to have overall great experience, just again on and off the court. I'm a believer in that, and try to put them in successful situations to be successful both on and off the court. And I think that's my job as a coach, to have them thrive in these situations that I provide for them.
I think that's a pretty good way to look at things. And I'm not the one who plays for you, though. We do have a couple of guys for you. When it comes to Coach Nakanishi, you guys are both new. What drew you guys to the person and the coach that he is as you guys made your decision to transfer here to HPU?
I would just say his drive and passion for Hawaii and HPU itself. I think he really cares about the program, wants to do well, and that's something I was looking forward to in a program, was someone who really cares about that program, wants to do well. So I think Coach Knock really loves this program and can see it going to great places. So
it's a really important thing for players to be able to feel with their coaches, where you all want to be driving towards the same goal. You don't want to be I'm a big, you talk about cliches, I'm a big cliche person. You can't have everybody pulling on the rope one direction, but then you have somebody pulling on the other way. So I think that's a totally fair point. And then Tyrease, I was curious about what you've seen early on here through the preseason workouts into the actual preseason camp and whatnot. I know you've dealt with a little bit of an injury, but what have you seen from not just Coach Nakanishi, but this entire HPU staff that you think recruits should hear?
This entire HPU staff, they work really hard day in and day out. They make sure we get the right work in. They make sure we come in before practice and get work in, so we're already going during practice. It's really the things you don't see them do that really attracts you to this program. They put in so much work, behind the scenes, especially with the, what do you call it?
Community service?
Yeah, community service. I haven't done community service at all in my life, and the countless hours we put in with the community and all the rest of the team, it makes a big difference.
That's something I want to talk about a little bit more as this show goes on, because you guys have done some pretty cool community service stuff from the looks of it on social media. Curious how those experiences, obviously rewarding in giving back to the community, how those have also been rewarding for you guys as a team. Before we get into that, we are going to have to take a quick break. Do want to talk to you guys a little bit more. Get to know Tyrease and Charlie on the other side of the break. You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. I'm Paul Brecht. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Aloha and welcome back on into the Hawaii Pacific University campus at Aloha Tower inside the esports arena powered by DSE Hawaii. I'm your host, Paul Brecht, filling in for Jeffrey Rich. Like I mentioned in the first segment, a really fun team, exciting team, a team that I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing in action this year. And Coach, we kind of dove into who you are a little bit, just to remind everybody who the new head man leading the Sharks is. Now I want to put your players on the hot seat because, like you mentioned, a couple of new guys, a couple of guys who new faces to the program, but have been working really hard since the moment they've committed to the program. Charlie, let's start with you. You come over from ETSU. You're from Owings, Maryland originally. Your story is pretty interesting, being that I think you have taken a couple of years off, yeah? And now you're back in action, obviously an incredibly talented player. How did HPU come across your radar?
My senior year at ETSU, I did not play due to mainly concussion issues and stuff with the coaches and stuff. So I decided at the end of the year, I still had 2 years eligibility due to COVID. In that year, I sat out. So I said, might as well see what I get if I enter my name in the portal. And that's what I did. And HPU were one of the first schools to contact me. And I had always thought about going to Hawaii just to play and live, honestly, because I visited about 2 years ago and I loved it. So it always is in the back of my head about going there again. So I don't know, I just kind of fell in love with it, and that's why I knew I wanted to be. So.
And then obviously ETSU, a Division I program. As you come to a D2 program, what are some of the similarities and what are some of the differences you've seen so far in your time? Obviously, you haven't played a game quite yet, but you have gone through at least some intra-squad scrimmages, and you had the off-season. What have you noticed the similarities and differences so far?
I guess similarities are we basically work the same amount and as hard as any D1 program. It's about the same hours, and we put in the same time and effort any other program does. I'd say probably the main difference would be there's no summer to get going or to start more team morale and building more friendships that way. I'd say that hurts a little bit, but I don't think it's affected this team at all. I think we've really made up for that time we lost and had a great group. We have a great group that is really getting along. So
I do want to talk a little bit more about that great group and how you guys have been starting to come together, but I'll take you off the hot seat for a second. We'll move over to Tyrease, because I was chit-chatting with Tyrease before the show started, and I was curious because you from Louisiana, I joked a little bit, if anybody keeps up with the social media side of things, when Tyrease announced his commitment to HPU, I tried to retweet it, and I quickly saw LA on there and just, I guess, thought California, and Tyrease very kindly messaged me. He didn't comment on the post. He messaged me just to correct me. He was like, hey, just so you know, I'm from Louisiana. It's something I think you probably take a lot of pride in. Talk a little bit about that, because I believe Nicholls State, where you transferred now from, it's pretty close to home for you now stepping into Hawaii. Talk about your experiences pre-Hawaii days back in Louisiana.
Well, I've been in Louisiana all my life. That's my home. I have it all. I have it on my body. I love it. But coming to Hawaii, when I entered the transfer portal, it was actually crazy. 2 minutes into, I got out the office, entering the portal, looked at my phone, and I had an email from Hawaii Pacific. It was only 2 minutes. I was like, there is no way it works that fast. So I look at the email, and instantly as I see Hawaii, I'm like, Sounds great, but that's far, like very, very far. And I've never been away from home before. Like Thibodeau, where I went to school last, is only an hour from where I'm from. New Orleans, only 30 minutes, so I'm really familiar with the South. And as the time went by and Coach Jesse and Coach Cam shared their visions with me and what they want to do this season and for the team, and especially for me, it was an ongoing process. By day, I was like, okay, Hawaii. I'm liking Hawaii. And I thought it was really going to be a problem with my parents for me going so far away from home. And then one day they started pressing me about, if you don't take this opportunity, you might be missing out on something special. So I just kept thinking day by day, and eventually, with all the vision and all the plans they had for us and the team, I couldn't deny it.
Shout out to parents, for real, because it's the same reason that I am out here. My parents pushed me to accept the offer to come here, so I'm glad that you had a similar feeling. You also come from a place where food's pretty good in Louisiana, at least in my experience, and from my year and a half here in Hawaii, we got pretty good food here. How does it compare to food back home? Obviously different genres, but how does it compare?
Yeah, it's different, I would say, because back home it's a lot of spices involved. That's really what makes the food so special, is all the spices they use. But I'm a big rice and gravy guy, and I like eggs a lot. So when I came here and heard of the Loco Moco, I was in like heaven, because that's exactly what I like to eat. So, but the food's been good here. It's been right up my alley. Fried rice a lot. I love fried rice, and they offer that like everywhere around here. So I can't complain.
You're speaking my language, my friend. Fried rice, Loco Mocos. You can't go wrong. Charlie, I feel bad leaving you out. What's the best food that you've been able to have out here? How have you adapted to the food selection?
Well, I'm not really a picky eater. I kind of like everything from like all cultures. So, I mean, it was easy finding some good food out here. But I like sushi and like poke the most, probably. If I can get that, I always will. But it's a little expensive sometimes, so I don't always get it. But you know,
that's
try my best.
That's fair. Sometimes the raw fish food can be rough on the old wallet. Marcus, Coach Knock, do either of you have a food out here that you just think people need to have? Because I mean, we have two new guys. I mean, you're pretty new as well, I suppose. Marcus, what's your go-to so far?
Okay, this probably sounds a little crazy, but so back home, 7-Eleven, terrible. Like if you heard someone say, "Hey, I got something from 7-Eleven," you're gonna be like, "Man, you are down bad." Like, I'm praying for you, bro. But here, when I walked into 7-Eleven, I was like, "Wow, it's like a mini grocery store." And like every day, they got people cooking, fresh food every day. I was like, you know what, 7-Eleven here. Like, I tell people I went to 7-Eleven, like, no one bats an eye. But if I told my mom, like, hey, I got some great spam musubi from 7-Eleven. She's like, Marcus, are you okay? Like, do we need to send some cash over? But I'm like, no, it's great. So I say 7-Eleven is my favorite.
See, that right there, he's already getting the ins of Hawaii, because I agree wholeheartedly. 7-Eleven is, I don't even want to call it a hidden treasure. It is just a treasure of treasures. It's something where if people see me on the way to the studio each morning before I wake up in the den with Ku'ulei Agbayani, they might see me stopping by 7-Eleven right next to our station, where I can grab a sandwich and a drink and whatnot. And you're right. Normally you'd think, oh man, down bad is a good way to put it, but no, 7-Eleven out here is pretty elite. Coach Knock, you're the one with the most experience out of all of us. Can you share with us newbies where we need to go to eat to try things out?
Yeah, I got a lot of years on these guys and know a lot of hole-in-the-wall gems, but there's no passing up a Chilean rice bowl from Zippy's for me.
I think you're speaking our Ku'ulei Agbayani's language with a Chilean rice bowl, though she, I know, is always a big fan of the high schools, the concession stand high school ones that are out here. It goes back to talking about how good Hawaii food can be. We talked a little bit about community service and how you guys have done a lot of that in your time here, even before the season has started. Coach, I'm going to start with you. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys have done in the community so far with this unit and why you felt that was so important for your team to do?
Yeah, I kind of shared, if I can take a step back even, at our tip-off event, which is, thanks for being there too, it was a great event. I kind of shared a kind of 4 main goals, but, in no particular order, but definitely we're going to win. It's going to be a little bit of a process, another cliche, but we're going to do it, we're going to win. And then, I already talked about them having a great experience and wanting to be here and wanting to stay here and not go in the transfer portal. So just a lifetime of memories that they build. And then the next two are kind of work hand in hand, but really building our brand and our presence here in downtown Honolulu and in the Manoa community as well that we play our games in. And, people really need to know where we play, who we play, the high caliber Division II basketball that it is. So all of that, and just people are going to want to come to HPU, the school, and want to play for HPU. Those are some of my goals. And then that last one that works, again, hand in hand with building our presence is getting into the community and giving back. I'm so proud of these guys. I think we do more community service than any other team in the nation, really, at any level, in any sport. I mean, we're going twice a month to Manoa, Noelani Elementary, and doing a mentorship program. Like, Charlie's in one classroom there every week, so they get to know him. He gets to know the kids by name, and they're going to go through different themes every month, be it healthy living or, they do basketball clinics with them. Whatever topics they come up with, Tyrease has his own classroom, and so it comes back and, they want to come and watch these guys play, and they get to cheer them by first name and actually know who they are. So those are just one component we've done. I mean, shoots. I got a long list of them. We've done the bicycling league, and we did a station for them, and we do Cam's helmets. We did a lot for the Maui projects. We did a donation drive, and we actually have a handful of us going up this weekend and doing they got a big fair there for the kids, and we're handing out helmets and bikes and stuff to them, and again some other. What am I missing, guys? What have we done? The Lo'i, we served at the Lo'i, and I'm drawing a blank. Help me out.
So I was actually curious if I could ask the guys, because, Coach, you have been so gracious sharing all of the things that you guys have been doing. I want to know from you guys, how has it been rewarding? How has it been rewarding for you guys?
It's been very rewarding because I don't think I've ever really done community service really hardly at all before I came here, and seeing like the smiles on the kids' faces when we help them at like the basketball clinics and things like that, seeing how gracious the people were at the Lowy when we were able to help them out, clear a whole field when it takes them like months. It only took us a day to clear out a whole field. So it's really just good to get out and see the reactions on people's faces and how thankful they are when we show up, like to the bicycling events, stuff like that. So I really like getting involved in the community.
How far does that go for you guys in building that team chemistry? Charlie, you talked a little bit about how that summer session isn't necessarily the same as D1. How has it helped you guys build that team chemistry this year?
I think it helps tremendously in giving us like some more off-court time, just to like get to know each other better, kind of mess around, and also help the community. And I think I've enjoyed it a lot, just getting to know people in the community and building relationships that hopefully will last longer than when I leave here. But yeah, I did some community service at my old schools, but I feel like I've already done twice as much at HP already. So I'm grateful for those opportunities, and I'm really enjoying it. So
good. I think it is a really, really important part that some programs do end up forgetting at times. So I'm glad you guys are able to focus on the on-court stuff, but also giving back off the court. We're going to talk a little bit more about that on-court stuff when we come back, but we got to take a quick break. You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760.
It's Sharks Weekly on 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Broadcasting live from Hawaii Pacific University's campus at Aloha Tower inside the esports arena powered by DSE Hawaii. I'm Paul Brecht, joined by the HPU men's basketball team. We've had a really fun conversation going so far today. We've talked a little bit about, getting to know each of you guys, an introduction of Coach Nakanishi back again, of course, but, we all are here for the same reason. We want to talk about basketball. And for you guys, it's coming up soon, less than 2 weeks away, November 10th, your first game against Alaska Anchorage. I believe, a 4-game trip in Alaska there, or at least 2 games to Alaska, 4 games away from the islands nonetheless. Coach, you've gotten an opportunity to see your team play some inter-squad scrimmages so far, get some opportunities to play. You have a few more coming up. What have you seen from your team in game-like situations so far that you've liked, and what do you want to see from them going forward before the regular season begins?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've even shared with them that a lot of our recruiting is, because of the nature of the beast, and we're far away and can't see all of them play live every time in the recruiting process. We're still getting to know our team as we practice and play these scrimmages and whatnot, and learning each other's strengths and their, not necessarily weaknesses, areas of improvement, I should say, and what strategies we want to use and who we want to get the ball and where the ball and all of that. So we're putting it all together right now with 10 new guys joining 7 returners. So it's been a little bit of a process there, but an enjoyable one, and figuring it out together. And I think we're going to out-team people. I think we got enough talent, but I think we can out-team people who may even have more talent, but we'll out-team them.
It's amazing how far teams that are connected can go, especially when they do have talent like the squad that you have been able to assemble, you and your staff at least have been able to assemble here in the islands. I want to chat with you guys a little bit about how scrimmages have gone, how practices have gone. Tyrease, I know you've dealt with an injury a little bit. You're working your way back. As you've seen practices from both playing in person and having to sit off to the side, what have you seen from the team so far during preseason?
Yes, sir. Thank you. First day back, actually. I get to get back out there today. But on the court observing, it's hard to really observe while you're on the court because you're in so much motion and everything and moving a lot. But on the court, you can really feel like the energy that the team brings, which is very helpful. Coach Knock makes sure that we talk a lot, which is very essential on the playing field, because you got to talk to be successful, knowing that from previous experiences. And off the court, just watching these guys get after it and play together is really special to me, because even when people are out on the sideline, it still feels like they never missed a beat as a team. So that's what I think by coach means, out teaming people. Like, no matter who we have out there or what's going on, as long as we stick together and do what we do and do the things right, we'll be good.
All right. You know what? That's fair. Charlie, you, on the other hand, you've been practicing most of the way through. You've had a lot of, yeah, you're right, Coach. You've had some pretty fun highlight dunks here and there during the kids' clinic. You were able to throw down a few for the keiki. What do you hope to bring to this team going into this season? How have you seen your skills kind of mold into and mesh into this team, this unit?
I think my skills have been molding in good, because better than my past schools, because I feel like in my past schools I've been more forced into like a strictly center position, and I'm more like a more versatile position where I can do the 4 and the 5. And I think here I'm really going to be able to do that. And I feel like I bring good athleticism and like a veteran mindset, because I've been through a 4-year program, and so I just feel like I just bring a good attitude and team chemistry with everybody. So
fair enough. I was just curious. And then obviously when it comes to Hawaii, Coach, you mentioned it, how it can be difficult sometimes because of the travel, right? You're a little bit further from everywhere else, but that also creates for a different dynamic for road trips. Are there any road trips that you personally are looking forward to this season?
Well, this first one right off the bat, like you said, less than 2 weeks away, and again with a new team, it just presents another opportunity for us to get closer as a team right off the bat. We're going to be away together for 9 days, sleeping in the same hotel rooms. They're paired up, and every meal together, study hall together. Flights and killing time at the airport and waiting for your car and all that. So that's just more time for them to bond. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, with the games, these are really competitive, very important regional games that'll help towards our regional ranking. With playing 4 GNAC schools that are going to be really tough. Every game's going to be extremely tough to win. We're going to have to play our best basketball to win every one of these games. It's time to. We're looking forward to playing somebody else. They've just been hitting on each other every day, and careful what you ask for, because it's here upon us right now. In less than 2 weeks, we probably got, maybe 7 more practices before we play a game. So
yeah, rubber hits the road here very, very soon, and it should be pretty exciting, guys. I want to ask you guys kind of about this Alaska trip, or I guess it's more than just Alaska. What excites you most about this opening road trip of the season? Because it can be difficult sometimes for teams with, Coach mentioned it, 10 new guys to open the year on the road. What part of that excites you, and do you think that can help you guys in the long run?
Yes, like Coach Knox said, road trips is a great time for us to come together as a team. Even though we have games and things, we still spend a lot of time with each other, so it helps us build a lot of chemistry. And then it's in Alaska, so that brings a lot of bonding in itself, whether we're all inside together because it's so cold outside, or exploring and seeing what it has to bring while we have free time. But to me, road trips always bring you closer, even on the court. Like, it's always hard to win on the road, and it just brings teams closer in like having to fight and bring out that win. So I think in all ways it'll be positive for us, and definitely a learning experience.
Slight tangent for you guys. Have either of you been to Alaska before?
Never.
No.
Ever.
Looks like a new experience for you two, and I'm sure plenty of guys on the team, it'll be a first-time trip as well. Exciting for that one. When you return home, obviously, you get a decent bit in the Shark Tank. Talk to the beautiful people a little bit more about where you guys play. And Coach, you and I have chatted a bit about how you want to get the word out about where the Sharks can be seen. Tell the beautiful people a little bit about the Shark Tank.
Yeah, I think it's a hidden gem of an awesome experience, both for our players and the fan base to come into our gym. It's UH is a 10,000-seat arena. We're a 800-seat, smaller, high school-like gym, but it just provides for an intimate environment where you can be courtside and get to know the guys and just be cheering right alongside of them. Might be able to give a high five down the court, who knows? But it's just a fun experience that I'd like the whole community to experience at some point and cheer the Sharks on. So it's the old St. Francis gym for a lot of the fans who haven't been here. I think we took it over a handful of years ago while I was gone. But it's just been great to have a home where our guys spend a lot of time there. Our weight room is there, our athletic training room is there, our team room is there, our men's basketball offices are there. So we really get to build more relationships with our guys having that venue, whereas before we were all over the place. And now we do individual film with our guys, individual meetings with our guys, and team film there. And so it's really good. I mean, they go to class, and then their second home is a Shark Tank. They spend a lot of hours down there, so it's a good vibe, and I'd like the community to experience it. And I'm sure, especially for our HPU students, we're trying to turn every game into a party for them and something they can enjoy and have food and cheer. And our PA announcer is great, and we'll have some fun games for them. So even for the community, and like I said, all the community service things we did with the kids, and last year we had the elementary schools pop in, and next thing you know, we got 200 screaming kids in there, and it's fun. I actually got one targeted game. A really unique thing we're going to do is on January 23rd, we're going to do a field trip game for a couple of these schools that we partner with, and I'm sure we're going to have probably at capacity for that game with kids being bussed in during a weekday noon game.
That's really cool.
Noon game on a weekday. So some of you guys want to take off on a lunch break and come check us out and see what a great environment that's going to be as well, with all the kids cheering us on. That's going to be fun.
That should be really, really cool. That's January 23rd, so everybody can mark their calendars. A noontime game against Azusa Pacific. One should be a lot of fun. I got one last question before we head to break for the players. The Shark Tank is a little bit different, I'm sure, from the places you guys have played. How does it compare? The fans can kind of get on top of the court at times. You probably will be able to see that in the upcoming future. Does that impact how you guys play at all? Does that impact the game at all, having that type of fan presence that close to the court?
Yeah, I would say it definitely helps motivate the team, especially like in moments like we're down or something. Like, you definitely help lift us up. Like my old school had a lot bigger arena, so I actually like the smaller arena because we can pack it and it feels a lot more fans than 800. And I'm really looking forward to packing the Shark Tank because I know it can get rowdy in there. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited to see it. Tyrease, do you have anything to add to that?
Like Charlie said, we played in bigger arenas before, but I feel like it's not how big the arena is. It's about how packed it is. It's like if it's full, it could be the same as just as if a major gym was full. Like how full it is makes a big difference in the game, and having the fans cheer you on, knowing you have a lot of people supporting you, just makes you feel a whole lot better on the court.
You heard it here first, guys. You got to come out to the Shark Tank. Now, obviously, the Sharks don't open the season at home, but they do return home pretty quickly. November 26th, the first home game for the Sharks against Slippery Rock. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be back to close things out here on Sharks Weekly. I'm Paul Brecht. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Aloha and welcome back, broadcasting live from Hawaii Pacific University's campus at Aloha Tower inside the eSports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii. I'm your host, Paul Brecht, joined today by super fun group in the HPU men's basketball team. We've been grilling them since the very top of the hour. I'm going to take you guys off the hot seat for now. Marcus, you've been sitting patiently waiting for me to allow you to, really have your time to shine, and it's finally reached that point. I would be honored if you would tell the beautiful people about what's gone on this past week in HPU athletics, and then maybe a little look ahead to what they can expect from other Sharks athletics, and maybe even these guys here at the men's basketball program.
Yeah, so last week, both our soccer programs, they got their first taste playing Westmont. Unfortunately, we lost both games, but once again, both those teams just do a great job just competing, and even if they're out of it, they play to the final whistle. And then volleyball, they took one. They swept Fresno Pacific, the season series, and I feel like the record doesn't show it, but I feel like, you can tell in the way they play and the way they conduct themselves that this season is really going to end on a high note for them. And so I'm excited for them to go back to California. I mean, last time they went back there, they took 2 wins, and so hopefully we'll take even more. And for women's golf, oh my gosh, I feel like the most underrated team on campus right now. I feel like every single tournament they compete at, it's someone else that pops off for them. And so Lily Lant, she took second out of 92 people in the Southwest Airlines HPU Sharks shootout. So big shout out to Coach Ed and his team. I think personally, I think they're going to win the Pac West Championships for golf. And so very excited to see how they do in the spring, and just very proud of them. And then looking ahead, a lot of our teams they're heading out, to go to California or other parts of the West Coast. And so just keep an eye on them and keep it updated. But, basketball season's approaching. I can't lie. It's one of my favorite times of the year working in sports. And so, during my time when I interviewed here back in September, when I was working at the volleyball tournament, you have a chance to meet a couple of coaches and see a couple of teams. And so one of the things I did remember was the basketball team. And, I had an opportunity to check out our social medias and see, how people ran things here. And I just really liked how, invested the men's basketball team was in the community. Because, when I was thinking, like you said, when I was thinking about applying here, my friend from Hilo was always telling me, hey, if you invest in the island, it will invest right back into you. And so I think Coach Nak and his guys, they do a great job of just pouring into the community. And I'm not going to be surprised when, we're going to be standing room only in the Shark Tank in a couple of weeks. And so
that's how it should be. You're 100% spot on, especially considering, like you said, the amount of community service that this program has done. It goes back to the Hawaiian ideals of, taking care of your own. And you're right, it's going to be really, really fun. What excites you? I've asked everybody else, what excites you most about this team? Whether it be the roster that they've put together, the schedule, there's some fun road trips. From the seat of the SID, what excites you most about men's basketball? Yeah,
so me and the head of compliance, Eli, we got to go sit in a couple of practices, and one of the things we talked about was, how Coach Nak brought up there's 10 new guys on the team. And usually when you bring 10 new guys on the team, you can tell when there's 10 new guys playing together. But the practices I sat in, I would have thought these guys played for a couple of years together. Just the competitiveness, the willing to, and the biggest thing, the communication, I can barely hear anything because you guys got yelling at each other, telling what to do, and everyone just seems to be on the same page. And for a team with so many new people, I think it's impressive how quickly they gel together. And so, if I'm a team playing these guys, I wouldn't just see 10 new guys be like, oh, it's a team rebuilding. No, they're ready to go, and they're ready to take some W's. And so.
Yeah, Coach, I have to agree with Marcus on that. Your squad, you guys talk a lot, and normally that might sound like an insult, I suppose, but that's such an incredible thing to be able to get instilled into your program, especially so early on with so many new faces. We've talked a lot of serious stuff here today, guys. I wanna get into the little goofy stuff that makes up sports that we all love before we have to get out of here. So, one, I have a question quickly for Charlie. Have you ever been towered over in your life the way you might be now, playing with somebody like 7'4" Matt Van Komen?
No, I've never experienced having 7'4" stand next to me every day. But the most I've had 7 feet tall, and I was like, that's not that bad. But 7'4", different story. Crazy.
Oh gosh, and then for someone who's not 6'9", Tyrease, what's it like to go to practice with these guys? Overall, it's a pretty big team that Coach Nakanishi and staff's been able to put together.
Yeah, I think this team's bigger than the team at my last school, but I also live with the 7'4" dude, so it's kind of crazy just seeing him walk around, ducking everywhere, going out in public. Everybody thinks he's the tallest person on earth. Well, he's one of them, but it's just crazy the interactions that we get just by walking around with him. It's been fun though. I
was gonna say it's got to be almost Hollywood-like to walk around with him, just because he is so tall. Every eyes go directly to him, right?
It's definitely like being in Hollywood with him. I would definitely say that. Anybody that sees him, they just go crazy. Their jaws drop. It doesn't matter who they are. It's crazy.
He'll be a fun one to watch, I think, along with a lot of you guys. Also, as you guys start to get to know each other, nicknames is something that I typically get into a lot. I love nicknames because I like to switch it up between a regular, Tyrease Terrell, I like to give little nicknames here and there. Who on the team has the best nickname? Is it as simple as, our friend there, Mr. Dominique Diggy Winbush? Or does somebody else have a nickname that is better, funnier? It can be funnier, it can be just more fitting, it can be a cool one. Who on the team has the best nickname? I see you guys thinking about it, so that makes me feel better. It might be a tough enough question.
I'm trying to think.
We might need you to create some.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
We got Chuck right here.
We got Chuck.
Yeah, this is Chuck.
We got Diggy. Right. We got Red Mamba.
Red Mamba. We do have the Red Mamba.
I believe that's Kemp Van Ness for
Yes.
anybody who may not be familiar. Awesome. All right. Well, in that case, we'll definitely have to come up with some more nicknames for the crew coming forward. But guys, coming up on the end of the show, want to say one more time, thank you so much for joining us today. Going to be a lot of fun covering you guys this year. You can hear a lot of your home action here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, HSRN 95.1 FM, AM 760. I'm your host, Paul Brecht. Want to say thank you one more time to Coach Nakanishi, Charlie Weber, and Tyrease Terrell for joining me. All of our support staff here at HPU, AC Custudio for helping us out, and Ku'ule Agbayani back in studio. This has been Sharks Weekly. Aloha.
Yeah, cool. All right, Paul. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's special presentation of Sharks Weekly.